I feel like I've been casting a lot of Zerg lately, but not today. Protoss and Terran players rejoice. Well, actually, it's gonna be a fight between Protoss and Terran, so maybe it's actually Zerg that ends up winning here on a much grander scale. Either way, what I've got for you today is a best of 5 series for $400 between everybody's favorite Protoss. We're looking inside of the main base of herO and one of the very best TVP players on the planet, none other than herO. All right. There's a reason why everybody loves herO. This man is the #1 Protoss on the planet, and he is absolutely insane. It's a proxy gate, a double proxy gate, right in the middle of the map. Now, of course, we're on the map Mothership. Mothership is a 3-player map, or it's a 1v1 map with 3 spawn locations. So I guess the spot that he has gone for, right over here in the middle, is equally far away from the bottom spawn as it is from the top spawn. And herO is very unlikely to go ahead and scout this. If he goes for an SCV scout, the SCV scout to the top left will probably take this path. And likewise, the SCV scout to the bottom will take this path instead. A Reaper may go straight through the middle, but at that point, the gateways are already going to be long done. Still, of course, this is a massive commitment here from the Protoss. But he immediately is going to set the tone for this particular best of 5. So let's see. It's a double gas opener for herO. That's honestly really good for him. That means that he is intending on going for a quick factory. If you go for a single gas opener, usually that means you want to go for a blind command center on the low ground. Not the case here. It's going to be a factory indeed. And that means that the zealots that are coming up already are not likely to achieve as much. I mean, you can still put in some work. We're going to see a Stalker follow-up more than likely here. herO is making a few probes at a time, so it's not like he is... or he's making 1 probe at a time, but it's not like he has stopped worker production altogether. But the dancing will soon commence. And I hope for herO's sake that he is wearing his dancing shoes. I personally never take mine off. This is weird. herO suddenly sees a couple of zealots marching in this direction. You will now know that there is indeed a double proxy gate, even though he hasn't seen it. He would love to have a tech lab onto the factory. Yeah. Factory tech lab here makes a lot of sense to start producing the Cyclones. Bunker coming up right now on the high ground. Second Reaper will be available momentarily. Zealots are reasonably tanky. I don't really love this that much, though, here for herO. I think that so far, herO is doing an excellent job just defending against all of this shenanigans. As soon as the Cyclone pops, life is going to be much more comfortable. And I think this is pretty great, right? Like, I don't think you can really complain here as the Terran player whatsoever. Nexus does fire up, though. And obviously, that's one of the things that's always difficult right here for herO. He still does not even know where his opponent spawned. But how do you know, right, whether or not it's safe to, I don't know, take your own base down to the low ground or to try and move out onto the map? He's going to now find out that indeed this is a base spawn on the left side. Cyclone, though, is going to lock on. So far, no kills other than the zealots here. Recall is going to be utilized because he knows that the Reapers are going to be arriving momentarily. And luckily right here for herO, those Reapers went the wrong direction. Otherwise, maybe a couple probes would have already died inside of that mineral line. Are the Reapers going to get intercepted? Yep, perfect movement here by our Protoss yet again. And this is one of the things I absolutely love about herO. Even though he is a bit of a cheeser, right? He is still a very formidable macro player too. Like, broadly speaking, if we want to, like, generalize StarCraft players a little bit, usually macro players don't cheese, and usually cheese players can't macro, right? Like, it's very common if you're a ladder hero, say you're like a, I don't know, a Diamond League player, and you see your opponent going for a cheese like this, it can be a big indication that they are not capable of playing a macro game out of it whatsoever. But that's, of course, the problem here when you're herO. You're still going up against an absolute world-class macro player who will just be very aggressive, even though he doesn't necessarily need to be. Still, though, I like this position here for herO. It's a bit tricky for him to navigate. But you know what? If you're playing Terran, you can always fall back to Marine Marauder Medevac, your beloved unit composition. The Stargate here is crazy. We go Phoenixes now? Okay. I did recently see some games that herO played where he went for a very awkward build too. Normally with Phoenixes, you get them as early as possible, and you get like 10 of them. Okay, maybe like 4 to 10 or so. But with this setup, it's a little bit awkward, right? But I guess you can still use them here defensively as well as offensively reasonably well. He has obviously seen the siege tank follow-up. So, say for example, Cure would go across the map. You can still disable those siege tanks for a little bit by lifting them up in the air. But I would imagine we're really going to be prioritizing this upgrade instead. No chrono boost on it though, don't worry about that. Instead, he's going to try and see if he can intercept the medevac. Medevac is going to try and sneak around the side. I mean, it's really nice work here by herO. Maybe this medevac is like 5 seconds late? I'm not entirely sure on the timing, but that could have been the perfect interception there for Protoss. Instead, Cure is going to be able to get away with it and potentially deal quite a lot of damage as well on the other side of the map. He's making a bit of a semi-wall right over here. Now he's getting into the main base. Phoenix number 3 is going to intercept it, and Cure is going to have some question marks here, wondering why in the world there's a Phoenix. This is going to be painful, though, for the probes. Only 2 of them. There is 1 Zealot available. That's something. The problem here, of course, for this Terran army is that it's likely not going to go home. I don't know if they were told that it's a one-way trip. I mean, this is still really good for Cure, though, I will say. Killing a Phoenix is nice. Denying that much mining is also pretty sweet. And while the Terran units are going to get sacrificed, they're being sacrificed for the greater good. 2 Phoenixes, 5 probes. I don't think you can really complain about it. In the meantime, though, there is already a 3rd Nexus nearly finished here for the Protoss player. So with triple Nexus, you can very quickly reinforce the worker count, and that is something that Cure is going to likely not be able to pick up on. But usually when there's smoke, there's fire. And I wouldn't mind seeing him go for a move out either with Stimpack or with like combat shields done, or whenever he really feels like it's time to go. For now, he needs to be playing this defensively. Actually, moving out with Stimpack already would be a little bit too soon. But it is important here that he does not let the Terran player, or the Protoss player rather, outgrow him. Okay. Yeah, that's one way, I guess, to also solve this equation. Start up your own base. In the meantime, we have the auto turrets being planted down by the Raven. He didn't know if it was going to be a Dark Templar follow-up or anything along those lines, and obviously that's why the Raven can still be useful. Now, he already face-checked it. He knew that the odds of there being a Dark Templar shrine would be basically impossible with both a Twilight Council as well as a Stargate. You just can't really afford that here as the Protoss, so he decided to send out the Raven and, well, use it for a little bit of harassment. And so far, Cure is looking rock solid. He has played against herO many times before. He's familiar with his antics. And so far, herO not really able to achieve anything. Most Terran players, by the way, would try to go out onto the map to shut down those gateways. He knows how important it is for Protoss to be able to warp in units. The gateways themselves are also obviously not free, but Cure is taking his time. And he knows where they are located. He saw the 2... Yeah, he saw them actually already in the middle of the map too, but he also saw where the Reapers came from. Looks like the Raven has ultimately gone down, but so will the proxy here in the middle of the map. And I wonder if Cure is gonna try and double down. He doesn't really need to be honest. He could go across the map right now. He can likewise also go home. The thing is, he's got a 3rd command center. I think he's gonna be flying that one down to the low ground here momentarily. He's already overmade SCVs for the mineral lines that he does have, so it's time for that base to go and for those SCVs to transfer. But how much damage can Cure do over here with his push? We do see some feedbacks here because Storm is not yet done researching. This is not good at all for herO. His units are just getting blasted. That Widowmine dealt a bunch of friendly fire, but not even remotely enough troops right here for the Protoss player to break through this. He's gonna have 1 Storm. Maybe 2. It's a disaster, though. Like, right now, it's basically the only thing that he has. Marauders in the front. Excellent micro here by Cure. He's also, in the meantime, macroing up his base, right? So, yeah, he's getting that 3rd secured. But herO decides to rip off the Band-Aid himself as Cure really dominates game number 1. Alrighty. That now takes us to the map 10,000 feet. Reapers, they have feet, but they can never walk. Do you think they can use their legs? Like, they kind of wobble. Do you think if you can't use your legs, you can become a Reaper and still participate in the Terran army? Because I think if you can't use your legs in the Dutch army, yeah, you're not going to be allowed to be in the military. Maybe they were once upon a time defeated. Okay, sorry. I'll see myself out. Anyways, it's going to be once more a very safe opener here for Cure. Not really taking any risks. Not really taking any chances. This time around, though, there's no shenanigans here from the Protoss. Although there is a very quick second gateway. We really should have a jetpack department. I'm hoping my techs, Euros, will go to the jetpack department. Oh, all right. That'll be the end of the first adept. Not expecting the Widow Mine, apparently. Let's see. Reaper is gonna get in. Stargate follow-up again. Dude, this is weird too, though. It's a double gate opener. And then straight into, as the follow-up, a Stargate? These randomly timed Stargates are throwing me off. herO has always been very creative in Protoss versus Zerg. Now, I think in PvT, so this matchup, you have a little bit less wiggle room. Oh. You tried to be so cute. And then ended up... okay, never mind. Embarrassing. Yeah, this is really strong performance so far here for Cure. Look at him snatching those Marines back to safety. He lost the Scouting Reaper, but I mean, it's the Scouting Reaper. He does not care. He wanted to go for a Widowmine drop, though. What he's showing right now to the Protoss opponent is that there is a little pothole over here, purposefully putting in a location where the Adept Scout could see it. Hopefully, at least, signaling right here to the Protoss that there is no Widowmine drop going across the map. Phoenix is going to intercept this. Oh. Widowmine drop on the high ground. Widowmine drop on the high ground. So risky, so risky. Clumped up probes just like that against the Widowmine that is burrowing. But it's okay in the end. Looks like the lock-on here of the Cyclone, though, is going to shut down one of those Phoenixes. Phoenix here not quite right-clicked onto the medevac. And while all of these units for the Terran will likely fall yet again, I gotta compliment Cure. Doing a really good job. Squeezing a lot of juice out of the Marines. It's like a Marine smoothie. What about the Cyclone? Ah. Cyclone has got 3 health, 2 confirmed kills, and is going to be able to get a nice repair job at home. Yo, help out the Cyclone, please. Thank you. Jimmy, stop pushing. Yeah, freshly pressed Marine is delicious. Cure knows all about it. There's only 2 Phoenixes, so you don't really have to rush out a missile turret or anything along those lines. Cloak Banshee now moves in. No detection available right here for herO. He's getting an Oracle going, which will be able to detect this Banshee with the Revelation ability, but so far, Cure is looking like a bit of a beast. Haven't really seen him make a mistake yet, this entire series. Yeah, if you struggle in TVP, just play like Cure. We're gonna see the Revelation here used in just a sec, I'm sure, but that is so many probes. 11? Yeah, that's 11 probes. Cyclone is also still hanging out here. Yeah, this is a disaster for herO. The problem here is that this is not this is not a spot where you can really tap out as Protoss, right? But it does kind of feel like you have nowhere to go. You know that Cure is gonna have a very nice attack in the oven, right? So very likely going to be a Marine-based push with Stimpack, combat shields, and the +1 infantry attacks, just like what Cure is going for here in this game. But it's still gonna be a couple minutes. You can play the greediest couple minutes of your life, but I am not convinced that you can actually stop the incoming attack wave of the Terran here. herO doesn't have a third. He doesn't have a Twilight Council done yet. He needs to get charge really badly. He would love to have Storm, but that is ages away. It's never gonna happen. At least the Phoenixes are putting in a bit of work, and they're really like the only thing that he has, got going for him. There's the charge startup. We really need to chrono that over and over and over again. I wouldn't mind seeing Cure pull the boys to really put his foot down, but he's not Maru. You know what? Those Phoenixes are putting in a bunch of work, but the problem is obviously if you're... Oh, Oracle dice as well. No, not quite. The problem here, obviously, though, for the Protoss is that, like, if you're lifting these units up inside of the main base, believe it or not, Phoenixes are spellcasters. There's only, like, energy for, like, 2 Graviton lifts here. Maybe these guys are gonna get enough energy for an additional one as well, but you kind of need all the energy you can muster. Third Nexus now gets the Knight. Even though the Chrono is ongoing, Twilight Council only halfway done on the charge research. Yeah, I think what we're watching here is a Protoss with a very slow death animation. You hate to say it. Hallucinated Colossus. Alright, that's cute. That siege tank is gonna go down. But the Nexus at this rate is also going to fall. Honestly, I don't really like this engagement here for Cure at all. Very messy. He's just hitting everything a little bit. He now knows, though, that the Colossus is fake. Yeah, this is messy. It's confusing. I don't think we really need to be engaging like this at all. But the advantage is just so big that it does not matter. GG. Okay, and just like that, we find ourselves on the map a Winter Madness match point for Cure. herO shenanigans so far has not achieved anything, really. Cure seems to have an answer for all of his weird moves. And I think it might be time, indeed, to just go and play something that herO absolutely hates. I think it's time for something normal. Like, say, a Twilight Council, and then into, like, Blink. Or maybe, like, a straight Stargate, and then maybe go Phoenixes from there, although I think that's a little bit iffy. We are going for a very quick sentry here, so we're still not really going for something that is quite considered normal. This is going to delay a Twilight Council a lot. Twilight Council right now at like 244? 43 or so? It feels kind of slow. Either way, if you want to play the more defensive macro game, it's fine, right? As long as you get the Blink upgrade done, eventually, it's okay. Yeah, Cure has just basically been deflecting every blow so far. Cure, my favorite anime protagonist. He's like Goku, you know? Not willing to fight, but deflecting every blow that's thrown his way. And then at some point, I guess he has to punch himself. Force field? No? Ooh. I guess you don't need the force field, but it's all annoying. Ugh. Ugh. Still, all of those units will get killed. And this is one of those starts right here for Terran that does feel a little bit less comfortable as the previous ones, although I don't think you can really complain all too much. There's the Blink coming up. herO already aiming for a third Nexus now. That's a pretty early one. A single Widow Mine. Are we gonna go double? Okay. It did get scouted, though, by herO here immediately. And now, well, yeah, this is all not going too smoothly, eh? Now the medevac goes down. We have a couple of hallucinated probes. In case you're unfamiliar, when you hallucinate a probe, so when you use the hallucination spell on the sentry, you have basically like I don't know, like 7, 8 different options to choose between. And if you choose probes, you get 4 of them. So this is not him using the energy 4 times. This is John. Yeah, it's usually not very, very helpful. I guess you can scout with it, but when it comes to letting the Widow Mines trigger, I guess it's a reasonable choice. All right, so the follow-up is going to be a more conventional approach here as well for Cure. He'll be aiming for good old Stimpack +1. And then, of course, also combat shields. Whereas herO, for the first time in this particular series, is getting his third base up and running. And he looks like he actually is prepared to, yeah, deal some damage later on in the game. Rather than trying to hit his opponent in the face early, he grabbed a little advantage by getting that medevac snipe. Ended up killing, of course, the Reapers and the Hellion too. All of this is solid, but right now herO has basically lost all wiggle room in the series. He does not really want to push the issue with a counter all in and basically put it all on the line. Potentially lose the match 3-0. So, yeah. Rather than being very very risky at this point, you may as well just get that third Nexus up and try to get more ahead. Now already though, if this was indeed a 4-gate Blink Stalker follow-up, Kira is building the Great Wall inside of the Terran's main. It's a really lovely position. hero's gonna see it right now too. Siege tank behind it. Stalkers would be able to blink up. I will say that the combat shields and the Stimpeg research are all a little bit exposed. So even if the Stalkers were to move in, they would still get something done, but they would likely not be able to deal a very significant amount of damage. Indeed, we have a third command center already coming here for Cure, which makes a lot of sense. He doesn't know if those structures are likely to go down at all, but he will soon see that the Stalkers are at home. Okay, Raven escapes. 3 kills, 4 kills. Not bad. But I guess it's about time we go into another Nexus here. Yeah. Could just use this as a spotter unit, kind of... Oh. He did intercept the retreat path over there. He could also decide to just maybe try to create like a soft contain on the opponent's bases. Cure does not look like he is ready to go for a move out at all. He's going to try and load up some medevacs, but he's not going to go for like a parade push straight through the middle of the map and maybe bring the SCVs with it or anything along those lines. Nope, herO just plays this super conventionally now. Oh, this is bad though. Losing the prism with the zealots in it. Not what you want. That's like 600 minerals down the drain. Colossus follow-up is going to be nice. But while Cure can go for a move out here, I don't believe he's going to be super committed to it. He'll likely use this mostly as a way to secure the third. Observer is going to see it in just a sec. You will notice the SCV transfer. And you will also see, another observer that is, that there is a push moving out in the direction of the third. Medevacs get intercepted. Nice moves here though, by herO in general. What about this push over here at the third? Cure actually committing very hard. Stalkers going in around the back. I love the Widowmine positioning. Good blinkies as well. But I think the third Nexus is still toast. He will know that there's likely a fourth Nexus right next to it. Can he actually get his Terran army wedged in the right location though? That's the question. These units may have some trouble getting back home. We are going to pull the probes just to try and survive. Okay, it's a lot of losses on the side of the Protoss to pull off this defense. But I guess it's the only thing he can really do. He needs to hold on. Another medevac takes a bit of a bruising. In the meantime, there is a double medevac drop headed in the direction of the natural expansion of Protoss. So if indeed this bio army here can draw this Protoss force all the way to the upper right, they would be far away from home to defend against this. Sniping the medevacs is so nice though. Yeah, that is the 5th medevac going down in this game. It's too many, honestly. In the meantime, the drop of Terran has now arrived. More medevacs, I guess, that could go, well, down to the slaughterhouse, but it's so much damage. Even the Robo Facility. The Colossus isn't gonna spawn. It will... No! I was already leaning on the letter N. It will spawn. Now we have a counterattack as well, actually. The Colossus that were already out on the map have made their way across. Loads of probes died, but likewise SCVs are now falling. Drop towards the 4th hatchery, or hatchery. I just told you guys, there's no Zerk in this game. Drop towards the 4th Nexus. Not gonna be able to unload. What about the main base? More and more probes will fall. I don't think there's enough Protoss, though, to try and break open the natural expansion here of herO. Or of Cure, rather. But herO is gonna be... Yeah, he's still gonna be struggling. He lost so much. Only 33 probes remain. And while he did kill a bunch of SCVs on the other side of the map, I'm liking this position for Cure quite a lot. Triple orbital command with triple mule production is super nice here. And while I guess there is still some good mining here on the right side, he's gonna need to contain this Terran player for a long time for this really to be justified. And you know what? Cure realizes it's going to be relatively straightforward. Big stim, though. He doesn't have any medevacs. Wait a second. There's no medevac available anymore at all. Every stim right here is expensive. He's trying to target down the big hitters here. May herO still defend this? I guess it's okay. He's still got enough stuff. The Vikings land now with all of the Colossi gone. But since the medevacs have been sniped over and over and over again, there's none available. I mean, one just spawned, but herO may still be able to clutch this. That's so crazy, man. You need medevacs. Without medevacs, the game's real hard. Well, now all of a sudden, with 22 additional SCV kills going in, herO is climbing back in the worker count. He's not rebuilt a or a third Nexus, by the way, so he's kind of stuck on the bases that he's got right now, but he's smelling blood. He doesn't have a Warp Prism to very quickly send the reinforcements in, but he does have a Proxy Pylon. Is herO going to try and win this game in the most herO-like fashion possible? Is this really what he's going to do? Another Medevac will die. Man, that is Medevac 11. At minute 11 and 11 seconds, we had 11 Medevacs dying in total this game. That's too many 11s. Cure cannot withstand the pressure, so herO gets a point on the board. Okay. And while that wasn't an easy win, that does bring us to game number 4. It was looking like a 3-0 for Cure. Now it's a 2-1 advantage for him. I'm still really liking, though, what Cure has been doing throughout this series. Not quite having the result in the previous game that he was hoping for, but a clean slate. And apparently he's now feeling brave enough to go ahead and build that command center on the low ground, rather than building it in the main base and flying it down. This is all just a little bit more greedy. herO again opting to go for a pretty quick sentry. So not quite a sentry first, it's an adept first into a sentry. These builds have fallen off a little bit lately. Sentry second or sentry first was very common for a while. Still think it's really nice. So what you can do is use the energy recharge from the Nexus to then, yep, send out the hallucination. Although you do have to go ahead and then send out the hallucination. Man, I've seen herO do this before where he purposefully doesn't. Yeah, he's really just using the sentry here as like a defensive measure. I guess he wants to make sure that he has 50 energy remaining by the time that he uses the hallucination, so he can still get a force field down in case there would be any, well, cheeky Hellion follow-up or maybe multiple Reapers trying to get into the base. Maybe this is the way to get that job done, you know? The scout over here will confirm what he already expected. Well, it's going to be a good old 1-1-1. And again, Cure is going to start creating the wall. This time around, it will be a crescent moon. I wonder if the orbital command is going to be part of it too. But you can create a nice little pocket, making it very difficult for any Stalker who pushes up to the high ground to really get anything done. Speaking of Stalkers, we are indeed going into the good old Blinky research here for Protoss. Quick third Nexus as well over at the 9 o'clock position. Widowmine drops, sneaking around the top section of the map. Cyclone moves out as well, straight through the middle. Cure not afraid, though, to switch up his playstyle as well, right? Like, he was a punching bag in game number 1 and 2, and he defended expertly. Now he's gonna be the puncher. The punched becomes the punch-it. Wait, no. The punched becomes the puncher. There you go. Trying to reinvent English is probably unnecessary. The punchy. I feel like we should make that a word. We need to bring a little bit of standardization back again to the English language. How about that? I would like to propose we stop not pronouncing letters in words, such as knight, castle, sword. Just bring that all back. What are we, French? We're not gonna just randomly not pronounce letters. Hello. Knife. Widowmine drop going in. Not getting a whole lot of damage done. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult anybody with French. I take that back. Sorry. It just, you know. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you say the F word. French. I apologize. Okay, we have the Templar Archives being built. I should have... Yeah, we should... Oh, sorry. Sorry, we gotta put a... How do you make an asterisk? There we go. Yeah, this is what I meant. Anyways. Templar Archives here. Followed up as well with the charge research. I actually had French in school for a long time. I suck at it, though. I don't know anything about French anymore. Well, that's not entirely true. I can order a croissant. What do you guys think of that? Croissant. Ooh, should I be rolling the R like that? Croissant. C'est très bien. Widowmine drop goes back in again. Looks like this time around, though, the medevac decided to just drop off its cargo and try to nope out of there by itself. Fly! You fool! Didn't happen. Auto turret dropped down over here. High Templar stared at it menacingly. Didn't really do anything. Double medevac drop moves out as well. Fun fact, actually, the Loco announcer pack that you can buy for StarCraft 2 was recorded in France. Back then, the Blizzard Versailles office was the one organizing that. Nowadays, there is no such thing anymore as the Blizzard office in Versailles. Kind of sad. That was a really fun trip, actually. You know what they didn't speak, though, at the Blizzard office in Versailles? French. Everything was very much so English. Oh, well. Apparently, we're not going to continue the war over here. We're just planting down the barracks willy-nilly now. Now that the Stalker aggression is no longer a problem. What about the storms in the middle of the map, though? Cure microing out of them very nicely. Yep, negating most of the splash damage there and getting the Widow Mines into a decent position as well. A Robo Facility coming up. A Robo Bay as well immediately on the back of this. It's going to be a while, though, until herO really gets those units out. And this attack here from Cure is risky. Ooh, that storm was way better. Yeah, that storm was so much nicer. In the meantime, the Jimmies have swapped themselves off or switched themselves off or maybe split themselves off. There you go. That's what we're looking for. From the main pack, killing 6 of those probes. Oh. Oh, he tried to be a burrowed Zergling. Probius, no! Man. Cure is heartless. Doesn't care about Probius' feelings at all. Bro just made his final pyramid and then noped out. Probius the pyramid builder. Probius built the pyramids, dude. I guess he's an alien. No surprise there. All right, anyways, we got the auto turret planted down. Yeah, Cure needs to be very careful about that Protoss splash damage. Margin for error against all of these sources of splash is very, very small. Soon there's going to be a third source in the form of the Colossus. We already have the High Templar. We already have the Archons. herO's army is powerful, but it is definitely very reliant on that splash damage. His actual core units are not that powerful at all. Oh, nice EMPs! He got all of the High Templar EMP. There's a couple more trailing behind, though. So there will be enough, I guess, for Protoss to still stay alive. He needs to be so careful. Man, herO, you should go home, man. He knows that the High Templar are going to be able to carry this for a while longer. Is he not overextending here? So many of those red HP Terran units, though, they're like one storm away from all popping. That is why herO is still around here. He wants to get that hit off, but he knows it's going to be very difficult. Immortal will still target fire down like two Marauders, rather, before ultimately falling. Reinforcing Zealots show up as well. It's an absolute bloodbath with so many of those troops going down. Any little thing matters right now, including using that auto turret from the Raven. A new Colossus was thinking about engaging, but then decided to turn his long legs around, although it stopped running for a little bit. Cure, he will see this thing coming in right now. EMP gets landed. Was it bait? It may have been bait. New High Templar showing up. New Zealots also showing up. So scrappy. So scrappy. Colossus lives. Oh. 1 HP, literally, on that Colossus. Nice pullback right there by herO. He may not be good at building walls, but he can micro his units. Alright. Looks like a 5th Nexus is going to be coming up momentarily. 4th Command Center finishing up right now here for Cure. Oh, that storm was ambitious. EMPs? Yep. Still nice. He doesn't have a lot of Vikings. Auto turret? No, anti-armor missile rather. Still very sweet. Man, the storms, this location over here is kind of nuts. This time around, though, it's much better. And now the Colossi are still around. New High Templar just keep going across the map. I guess that's to make sure they can be all army hotkeyed or whatever. And by the time they get across, they will have energy for a Psy Storm. You could use the Prism for warping in units instead, but I guess he prefers it this way. At least there's some Medivacs available this time around right here for Cure, but honestly, I'm not really liking this position for the Terran player anymore at all. 2-2 is coming for him, but it's still like a minute away. And if herO has his ways, I think he's going to try and close out this match within the next 60 seconds. This is such a tricky spot for Cure to break out of. This Protoss army wedged between those two bases is so tricky. I guess you can maybe try and get a good surround, but there's so much splash damage coming up. The Prism is going to fall, at least that's something. But I think there's already enough damage dealt here by the Protoss army. 31 SCVs have died, so even if the dust settles here and somehow, some way, Cure manages to defend, his counterattack is effectively going to have to win the game, and that's not going to happen. The final storm of the match was also a juicy one, but herO manages to even up the score in the series. And that means it all comes down to this. The rubber match. Final map in his best of 5 series is going to be on Old Republic. Can herO actually complete the reverse sweep? It's very uncommon at this level of StarCraft 2. And so far, honestly, herO has been hanging on by his teeth. You know, he's been like on the side of the cliff. His fingers were already slipping. The only thing that was still holding on were, I guess, his upper teeth. And somehow, some way, he ended up winning the game. And then he did it again. Cure's been playing some really good StarCraft. But he's been getting a little bit overeager, right? In that third game especially, losing out on all of those Medivacs. Hitting stim like his units were just gonna regain the health yet again. That previous match was not a frustrating one, though, for Cure. Cure would love to go up against another cheese hero of herO. But after doing so in game number 1 and 2, apparently we're not, we're not dealing with any of that sort of shenanigans again. Like I said, that's exactly why herO is such a dangerous opponent to go up against. Not only is he willing to just put it all on the line with a dumb build, a proxy in the middle of the map, some silly all-in that only makes sense in his mind, but he still is a very formidable, maybe one of the very best, right? Maybe the best. Macro Protoss is... Macro Protoss on the planet. It's always difficult. I feel like with Macro Toss, it's a little bit more difficult to really... to rank it. I think on a good day, MechSpecs is probably the best Macro Protoss. But he's not always necessarily super consistent. Classic is a bit of a beast in that department. But one of the reasons why it's a little bit more difficult for both MechSpecs and Classic, I think, is because they don't have that image. Right? Like, herO has that image of being an absolute madman. And the opponents kind of have to play around it. So when he just plays the most conventional macro game of his life... Cure will still likely be playing it differently than he would against somebody like MechSpec, somebody like Classic, somebody like Showtime. He would probably approach the game, differently in that regard. He's scouting everywhere, right? For example, we've already had Marines going around. We have a Cyclone going around the top section of the map too. This is not necessarily something you do against every Protoss player. Maybe it's nice to check all of these bases, but it does, of course, mean that they're not also being used for aggression simultaneously. So herO able to get away with some greed that maybe other Protoss players are not able to. Just because, well, they're not just playing the matchup, they're not just playing the map, they're playing herO. They're playing the opponent. Combat shields coming up. Stimpack researching as well. It's a good old triple Rex opener here for Cure this time around. A little bit of a different start. He's delaying the starport for quite a while. Obviously, that means that there's no Widowmine drops or anything along those lines. Jimmy has made his way across, and this is when Cure finally sees what he is actually going up against. You know what he's going up against? The most conventional Protoss build, really, that herO has shown so far. It's good old Blink, single gate opener. Well, I say that, the most conventional build. It's a very conventional build in the sense that it's very macro-oriented. It is certainly a greedy one, though, because herO has very little production. already got a third Nexus up. This attack here that Cure has got imminent is certainly one that needs to get some sort of damage done, but I wonder if he can even comfortably go across. The problem is, right, you get Stimpack, you get combat shields, you get +1 infantry attacks. You just don't have a lot of medevacs. So anytime you move out, your army is potentially on a one-way trip. Anytime you use Stimpack, you're effectively reducing your own army's entire HP down significantly. He at least now knows that this is not like an all-in here from herO, right? With like a 4-gate or something aggressive early on. But we do have a load of additional gateways finishing. Fort on the back of this, a Robo Facility on the back of this. He could have gone for like a really quick charge, so like an 8-gate or something along those lines. In which case, Cure would be in a world of trouble. But honestly, I'm still not really loving this position here for Cure at all, right? Like, look at the worker count already. We are at nearly 3-base saturation here for Protoss, whereas Cure is still not really able to secure anything. Like, he's finally moving in with a bit of an attack of his own, or he's finally moving out, rather, but there's no third command center here for the Terran. He's got a good set of upgrades, but can he even really push? Oh, he fires up the third CC right now. herO might already be thinking about a fourth Nexus here. He doesn't really know exactly what he's playing against from the Terran, so it's always a bit of a guessing game. Medevac is going to try and sneak out, but reinforcing Protoss troops should be able to take care of it. Yeah, this is a really lovely position here for herO, it needs to be said. He's already got a spotter unit out at the bottom of the map. That's going to give him the heads up of any medevacs that might be unloading nearby or trying to make their way into the main base. Cure's build is not really achieving anything. Now, it's not a horrendous location right here for Cure, but he does need to get some sort of damage done. He's hoping that maybe there would already be a fourth Nexus over here at the bottom. He's going to find the probe and then the pylon. Okay, fair enough. But this is obviously going to give Protoss now the heads up that there is indeed... Oh, this push seems kind of crazy. 1 Immortal and 3 slow Zealots. Alright, charge is going to be done in just a moment, though. What about the pusher over at the front? No concussive shells available, actually, here for Cure. Still is going to target fire down a bunch of those units. What about the push inside of the main base? Looks like a medevac will end up going down, and that means the Jimmies are going to be next. A little bit scrappy in that regard. We did see 7 Stalkers dying in this game, though. And that might just open up the door for Cure to go for a potential attack. He has seen the sentry count. He knows that he could be boxed in if he's not careful. Decides to activate Stimpack here as he sees the Zealots charging through. Stalkers trying to go in around the back. I think the best thing you can do, Cure, is take this very, very carefully and maybe even just go home. Yeah. I know it's kind of tempting when your third base is so much later than your opponents. But mules are really good, and you might be able to make quick work of it. Getting the Nexus snipe is big, though. Cure doesn't know about the Nexus. He sees it now. He's going to set all of his eyes at the target. So many Zealots. So many Zealots. Widow Mines. Okay, decent hits. But good enough, I think, for herO. Enough numbers here for herO in general. Also using Hallucinated Phoenixes to trigger any additional Widow Mines that might exist. I think it's good enough for herO to push back this army. Nice splitties yet again here by the Protoss. Reinforcing troops will be making their way across. We do not have a Warp Prism here. He's got the Robo production time occupied here by the Colossus. Only a single Robo available. Charge, though, is going to be useful. Oh, nice snatch as well there by Cure. He saw the Zealots disengage. Decided, okay, if you want to be greedy, I'll just go pick up my units. Thank you very much. 2-2 building here for the Terran. And that is a really nice out here for Cure. He may not have the army, he may not have the economy, but he does have the upgrades. And then bio units in general benefit very greatly from those researches. Disruptors, though, don't really care. I wouldn't mind seeing a second Robo Facility for herO. Having only a singular one right now is not really quite enough. Oh, is he thinking about sacking the Zealots? No. Just gonna send in 2 of them to be a bit of a distraction. There's the second Robo. Second Forge as well. Good. He needs to try and play catch-up. But he knows at this point that Terran is still gonna be at 1-1. As soon as Cure gets 2-2, this Terran army gets a lot more terrifying. He does have a third command center up right now too, so the potential to go into Ghost, for example, is here. But he's got so many of those units to just deal with right outside of his natural in the third, that he's a little bit hesitant. It's not even really committed, though, from herO. herO's just tiptoeing around the bases of the Terran. But in reality, he's going double upgrades. He's getting the ranged upgrade for the Colossus. He's getting a 5th Nexus too. He's still fighting. Keep in mind that these Colossi do not have range yet, and that means that the Vikings have a relatively easy time closing the distance. I think herO should go home, man. It's so risky for him. He could very easily overextend. Double Disruptor production. I mean, he made some big investments. He doesn't know when 2-2 for Terran is going to be done. If he overextends, he could be in a world of trouble. In the meantime, a 6th Nexus is also building in the far bottom right. herO still decides to just wedge his unit wherever he can. The Colossus, by the way, did go home. So at least there's a little bit of something there. Another Nova tries to roll through. In the meantime, though, that base in the far bottom right is unscouted. Cure is going to finish 2-2. But man, this guy probably believes he's just got a little bit of room to breathe, rather than him going for a potential counterattack right now. herO's here again. herO's maxed. Decent force field. With this non-stop aggression, though, Terran has not really had the time to build up any sort of ghost production, right? Like, you kind of need attacking units right here, right now. What you really want, though, as a Terran is to start, well, putting in some better troops. He instead decides to spend his resources on the 3-3 upgrade. It's gonna be nice, but it's gonna take forever as well. More SCVs are dying. Yeah, herO is just a bit of a monster. Such a finicky fight for him. Very chaotic. He starts up to 4 Robo facilities here. Colossi will likely go down. He's got 4 Robos. Are we playing PROTOSS Mech? Is that what we're doing? Is this an overextension, though, from herO, right? Like, you can tell that his numbers are going down. And while all of this does take, some time to finish up, Cure is going to have some really solid troops eventually. Another Nexus. Nexus number 7. So wait, we're playing 6 base, or 7 base PROTOSS, excuse me, versus 3 base Terran. Oh, I guess there's a 4th command center, fair enough, but we just keep making the units? Is it not a little too much? Is it not a little bit of an overextension? herO did add on probes, 85 of them. Double Prism coming up as well. Oh, yeah. Okay. He has begun the production out of the Robo units. The Vikings are landed behind this little section. They can obviously lift up and continue fighting. Oh, there you go. Back up in the air we go. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes right here with the Vikings. You love to see it. And herO now has money to basically keep this going, right? Like, he's gonna start accumulating a bank, and Cure just cannot really fight the amount of income that herO's got going. It's been a very flimsy engagement now for the last 5 minutes, but herO is gonna try and keep this engagement going for basically the remainder of the game. And this is the result. It's a lot of multitasking. It's not easily done, but he's just taking base after base after base. He's making disruptor after disruptor after disruptor. And unless Cure can really come punching through and counterattack immediately, he's in a world of trouble. Now, this flank over here is awesome, though, from Cure. Cure is gonna dodge a bunch of those disruptor novas as well coming through. Trying his absolute best to break out of this. Now, by the way, he does have a lot of war prisms, a lot of medevacs, but none of the medevacs have energy. He may as well be back to game number 3. We have 13 medevacs, but all of them are empty. That's when you know you've had a crazy long engagement going on. Recall has been used here. herO finally decides to regroup all of his units. At this point, though, herO can kind of lose like 4 bases and still be fine. Okay, maybe slight exaggeration, but Cure is kind of walking around. Finally, he's got some newfound freedom, but he's not even really entirely sure how to use it. Ultimately here, as the Terran, you want to switch on over to Liberators. You want to switch on over to like the Caduceus reactor upgrade. You want to get things like building armor, high-sec auto-tracking, and all the rest of it, but those are luxuries that Cure can definitely not afford. The micro here from Terran is good, though, but now suddenly there's zealots everywhere, and the problem is that zealots are very tricky to clean up. It's gonna buy herO even more time. Then again, hero's supply count has taken a bit of a nosedive. He's on, quote-unquote, only 12 gateways, now 11. Probably wants to add on a bunch more. Having nearly 3,000 minerals in the bank is a little bit excessive. And honestly, that might be his one way out of this game here for Cure. If Cure can somehow find herO in between production structures, like in between the production cycles, that would be massive. More and more Stalkers coming up. Another Nova. Cure's now got literally less than half the workers, though, that Protoss has. He did land the 4th command center, so that's nice. He does have 4 orbital commands, so that's also decent. At least his income is not going to be absolutely down the gutter, but you can see that he is starting to oversaturate his bases, and he's really not able to deal with all of this scrappiness that herO is capable of. herO, in the meantime, trying to recreate the Legacy of the Void opening cinematic with that many Zealots being warped in at the same time. Nova's coming in. I mean, we do have a very good concave here for Terran, but I don't believe he's got the numbers. Medivacs still out of energy, not really able to replenish any of it. And while Cure is going to be able to hold for now, I think the next wave of Protoss may just prove a little bit too much. In the meantime, we have 2 additional Nexi on the production tab. herO just keeps taking base after base after base after base. The old main is making a move now for this expansion here at the 12 o'clock position, but GG gets cold. So wait, let me get this straight. herO lost game number 1 and 2 rather convincingly, right? Like, Cure really did play much better. Then he lost like the first 98% of game number 3. And then he proceeds to win the series 3-2. Completing the reverse sweep. herO's a monster.